most of these people universally almost in favor of amnesty and a forgiving immigration reform package, but not everybody shares that same view. John and Ken from KFI Radio 640, they've been on the other side of this for a long time and have been very vocal about it. Guys, well, you're going kind of to help people out who want to spend today and not boycott. Is that right?
Yeah, we've gotten thousands of entries that we put in this big win booth, and every half hour, Ken and I are walking in, and we're drawing one of the receipts out. In fact, two of the winners had booked airline tickets, and so we're paying for their tickets.
Well, what do you think of this rally that you see here today?
I don't think it matters what the rally is. I'm amazed at this obsessive coverage because most of the legal citizens, which is most of our audience, are calling in and saying, well, this was a great day. Traffic is very light.
Okay.
I got around easily.
All right, but John and Ken, let me ask you. You say obsessive coverage.
Yeah.
This is tremendous. You have hundreds of thousands of people out there on the streets of Los Angeles in this march. How can it be obsessive coverage? This is a huge news story.
Because it doesn't affect the lives of most of your viewers. Most of your viewers went to work today and got to work a lot quicker than they usually do. They're getting home a lot quicker. They have an extra hour or two back in their lives. Why? Because the illegal aliens weren't driving today, clogging up the traffic.
Okay.
That's a part of the story, too, and I don't see that being covered.
All right, but also if there's a boycott, a lot of people aren't getting some work done, say, at
Where's
their
the
house.
boycott? I didn't see it. I don't know anywhere. Where I live, I don't know anyone who was affected by the boycott. Most of our listeners said no effect on their lives. What's boycott? What's closed?
I drove by one of my favorite restaurants near work here that was closed.
My favorite restaurant was open. I was driving up and down the valley today looking around. Everything was open. I was driving around the west side today on purpose. Everything was open. So what's the boycott? It's mostly in the illegal alien neighborhoods. They close down their own businesses. They won't go to their own businesses in their own neighborhoods.
All right, you guys have an opportunity now to balance out this one-sided coverage that you accuse us of. What do people need to know that maybe they don't hear today about illegal immigration?
What do they need to know? They need to know about the $10 billion it cost the California Treasury. They need to know that emergency rooms are wide open today. We've gotten several reports from listeners, whereas usually there's long lines. They need to know that schools are filled with Spanish-speaking illegal alien children, and the English-speaking kids have a tough time learning on an average day. The schools, the hospitals, the emergency rooms, the traffic, all huge burdens that California taxpayers have to carry all the time, and there's virtually no television coverage on for that side of the issue.
All right, so Ken, let me ask you a question. How do you get that message out? Because we're seeing these rallies all across the country today.
Well, to get the message out, that's what we're doing here. We've been doing for hours this afternoon. And most of our listeners agree with us. And I think most Americans are getting really upset and riled up by all these rallies and Mexican flag waving. They're getting angry over this. I think there could be an even bigger backlash than there's been so far.
All right, we want to bring in, Gigi Graciette, our reporter, is right in the middle of this thing, and we want to bring her in. She has a question for you guys. Gigi, go ahead.
Well, at least here in the Wilshire District, we traveled up and down. We were on 3rd Street. We were on 6th Street. Most of the businesses in this area were closed down. We did find some stores that were open. We were at a Filipino restaurant, for example. She decided to stay open. Her bishop at her church told her that she could support the protest by keeping her business open. Her restaurant was empty, and she said she was going to suffer a great economic loss. That's one person.
We used to work near 3rd and 6th Street. That's a strong Hispanic neighborhood that merges into a Korean neighborhood.
Besides, a lot of people closed because they knew there'd be crowds there. Get out in the real world where millions and millions of people live in L.A. and Orange County. Forget mid-Wilshire. That's not representative.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to just take you to task on this one because girlfriend and I were going to have lunch today before we knew this was going to be a big, huge boycott. In Brentwood, could not get a reservation because the restaurants were saying the kitchen staff may not show up. So it is another area.
You know what those restaurants ought to do? They ought to pay better wages, and then they'll get Americans to take their jobs. A lot of those restaurant owners are like slave owners. They pay dirt wages, they exploit the Mexican workers, and they deny American workers a decent job.
Are you guys trying to say that LA's been shut down today? Are you seriously saying that? Or all of Southern California?
Well, let me add something. It may not have been shut down, but it sure was slowed down. And we saw businesses like FedEx, Kinko's closed today. The International House of Pancakes closed
Where?
today. What do you say to that?
Yeah,
Where?
where?
Maya the Kinko's in my neighborhood. It was open.
Well,
I mean,
we
all the
saw that at
stores in
Kinko's
the
that were
valley.
closed.
Go through
The only
Sherman
thing
Oaks
that was
and
closed
Encino.
where I live was a car wash. That was it.
You're picking out neighborhoods to highlight what you want the coverage to be. That's not the way it is.
Okay.
On the freeways, it's wide open. You tell me how LA was shut down
Let's
or
talk to
slowed
some
down.
of, why don't we bring some of the people that are actually, hold on guys, let's bring some of the people that are actually out here. Now, we've got John and Ken on live. Let's hold on guys, because we're live. They're saying that this boycott has really had no effect on the majority of neighborhoods. It may have affected this area, but not the rest of town. What do you say to that?
Check out the NASDAQ. Check out the Dow Jones. See the results for yourselves. The markets are down. And it's not only the markets. It's
That's
every single
And that could
community
happen
with
on any
Latino
given day.
population right now that is actually being affected by this boycott. And it's not only the boycott, it's the marches, it's the crowd, everything right here
No.
is
Now,
going
they
on.
are
back in the
saying that
real
this
world.
only affects Hispanic neighborhoods, and it doesn't really reach out and touch the rest of the city.
I don't think so. I think it affects every single
go
one of us.
drive
I
in
mean,
the other
everybody
neighborhoods.
knows somebody that is being affected by this. Commerce, Norwalk, every single city that you may think is not white populated or whatever, it's been affected. It's been affected, and you guys gonna see the repercussions later on.
All right,
Do
John,
you think
Ken.
this has been a success?
It is gonna be. It is, and it's gonna continue to be.
Our listeners wish for a day like this every day.
Yeah, take the rest of the week off. Take a month off. You're going to see the legal citizens in Southern California are going to love this. They get home quicker.
Ken, so let me ask you. You all are asking people to not boycott shops. You're asking people to spend. Is that right?
That's right, and we're rewarding them up to $640 in reimbursement. And we've had thousands and thousands of entries, and we're overloaded to the point where we can't even keep up today.
All right, guys, let's put the shooter on the other foot for a while. What if you're living just south of the border and you have a family to feed and you can't do it on what you're getting down there? You know you could come here, take care of your family, and send money home in addition. Aren't you going to do it, and aren't you in this march today?
Hey, do it
aren't
the
you supposed
American way. Overthrow the government. Vote those idiots out of office. Take control of your government. That's what should be happening south of the border.
Why aren't the Mexicans protesting in Mexico for the horrible economic living conditions the Mexican government has created? Why are they coming here where they've got a much better deal than they'd have there, and then they're bitching about it in the streets? The problem they have is with their country in Mexico, not with us. We've given them a free ride here, and they want more, and they want more? Come on.
That's a good answer, but not to my question. Would you be here or not?
No, I wouldn't be here. No. Why would you want to live illegally and steal tax money from another country? American citizens are entitled to the services here, not Mexican citizens. I wouldn't go to another country, and I wouldn't be allowed to go to another country and take their tax money to send my kids to school and get medical care and use their freeways. Wrong is wrong.
Guys,
I mean, it's a basic moral question.
you bring up some great issues for the American public to think about. Let's check in with reporter Tony Valdez, who has a question for you. Tony?
Well, I don't have a question so much as a reminder to these gentlemen. If you remember, we had a concept in this country which was manifest destiny. It was some sort of notion that the United States had the right to occupy land from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Now, there's a group in Los Angeles that's called Culture Clash, and they do some very interesting things satirically and with comedy. And one of the things that they say is, we didn't cross the border crossed us. So what I would suggest that these gentlemen and everybody else who's watching do is look at your own history, 1846, and see how the United States of America invaded the country of Mexico, how the United States countries wanted to go into Texas and bring slavery to Texas, and the Mexicans who would not tolerate slavery
and so people
said,
living
"No,
today
get out."
have to pay for the
They
sins
should
for
also
160
think about
years ago?
California,
They
where
found
the
a
same sort
radical.
of thing was happening. And here in California, there's a monument to the Mormon Battalion, the great heroes who killed a lot of Mexicans.
There's a
enough
statute of
Mexicans
limitations
so
on this
that
stuff.
so that this part of the world could be taken by force by the United States. Today, the same government that runs this country tries to strike down countries like Iraq and Iran and so on and so forth, who invade other countries, and yet this very same country, the United States,
There's
took
got to be a
California,
statute
Texas,
of limitations
etc.
on old history. It
Look,
can't
all of
affect our
those.
day-to-day
It's
lives.
very convenient for you to do that, I say, with respect.
Well, what
but
do you want us to
nevertheless,
do? You want us to
nevertheless,
give the
you
land
took
back?
this country. You killed people in order to take this country for yourselves.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
All right.
That's the
nuts.
Aslan point
John
of
and
view.
Ken,
That's a report from Atslan there.
thanks for your time. I'm sure
Yeah,
we've
it's
really
time to go.
changed. I know we changed your minds, and we're gonna move forward here.